Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage ASTA President and CEO, Zane Kirby.
Well, thank you, everybody, and welcome. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon.
Thank you. That's great. Welcome to the Industry Forecast, and I'm really grateful to be back here in the unofficial, or maybe even perhaps the official Cathedral of Freedom of Press and Free Speech here at the National Press Club. Thanks for joining us. Now, it was either the physicist Niels Bohr or Yogi Berra who said, predictions are hard to make, especially about the future. I think inherent in that phrase is the understanding that the present is vast and influenced by countless variables. Fast-changing technological and social changes make forecasting even more challenging, as do our limited views of what we can actually see at any given time. But with all those obvious disclaimers, I'm here to tell you that the travel industry is and will continue growing, as will the entrepreneurial opportunities around it. Travel is remarkably resilient, nearly as resilient as the travel professionals who power it. Now, I want you to think for a minute about the things that affect our industry. Unpredictable and sudden shifts in pricing, product perishability, weather disruptions, labor unrest and strikes, the price of oil, computer hacks and bugs, political posturing, State Department warnings, war, tariffs, stock market fluctuations. This is starting to sound like that Billy Joel song. And I'm just talking about last week, right? You can probably add to the list. Some days it feels like everything affects travel. But years ago, I heard Bill Clinton say, "It is endemic to the human spirit to go and see." It was a really profound observation, and I wish I would have come up with it before he did. But I've still trademarked it, so forget you. Sorry, Bill. When you think that our service has to be experienced in person, not online, what I'm about to show you kind of boggles the mind. Now, any data set has inherent limitations, but the U.S. outbound travel data is perhaps one of the most important industry metrics for our business. And what a story it tells. At this point, we've surpassed pre-pandemic levels. 98 million Americans left our shore in 2019, more than 107 million last year. And despite the headwinds that I talked about, and if I hear the word uncertainty again, I may just throw up, this is what's happened so far this year. I know it might be a little bit challenging to read, but more Americans are treating travel like a right than a privilege. More are going and seeing and experiencing and eating and sharing and connecting. I love it. Travel is a most personal and human and humanizing experience. It might be the only thing that can also get your teenager off of her phone if you're like me. Now, if you're we polled ASTA members 3 times in the past 6 months, right? We asked them to weigh in on tariffs and other public policy decisions, and there was great trepidation in February and March. But I'm really happy to report that over the ensuing months, that initial fear has subsided, and the vast majority of businesses are reporting growth. Not everyone, but most. The other positive, despite tariffs and political posturing, which can have a negative effect on how Americans feel like they're going to be welcomed abroad, every month since tariffs were announced in February, outbound travel has increased from 2024 levels. Even the mini stock market crash in April couldn't dampen the trend. The S&P is up over 30% since April 2nd. Now in June, nearly 12 million Americans went abroad. That's up more than 10% from 2024. Now, with travel booming, it's no wonder that more people are leaving their current ho-hum professions and joining the ranks of travel advisors. Earlier this year, Bloomberg, followed by many others, woke up and noticed that travel advisor was amongst the fastest growing jobs on LinkedIn. Right up there with artificial intelligence consultant and engineer. I guess if you can't do that, do this. Thank you. My mom's in the front row here. Bloomberg reported what we've been shouting for years: geographic and schedule flexibility, the unlimited earning potential, and old-fashioned human interests. I mean, like, who really wants to practice forensic accounting? No one. Sorry, Virginia. All these factors make becoming an advisor an attractive profession. But also, as we preached, like a shiny TikTok with a young, pouty influencer showing off her island paradise, or the ability to create a flashy Instagram post does not a travel advisor make. The federal government has largely left us unregulated. On the state side, only 4 states require any kind of registration, and there's no educational criteria to register in any of those 4 states. So despite the fact that our members take 5- and 6-figure deposits from clients, they manage complex itineraries and schedules. So as the profession's reputation manager, it's essential for ASTA to define and promote qualified travel advisors, and we are. Nearly a decade ago, we launched the Verified Travel Advisor Certification Program. And last year, we modified its educational requirements and added sales experience and recertification criteria. Now, ASTA's VTA certification teaches advisors the laws, the regulatory requirements, and ethical responsibilities they assume when they sell travel for a living. Earning your VTA is a meaningful signal to consumers that they can trust you with their money and their most precious resource, their time. Now, you may not know, but the vast majority of calls and web visitors we get to ASTA aren't actually from ASTA members. They are consumers desperate to know who they can trust. They ask 2 questions. Are they an ASTA member in VTA? And do they have any complaints against them? So earlier this year, we launched verivacation.com, which is an online directory of ASTA verified travel advisors to showcase ASTA VTA expertise. We started this year with a few hundred verified travel advisors, and we will end this year with a few thousand. And we also launched a few fun web advertisements in February, and largely thanks to our local chapter network, we're putting more and more money into promoting verivacation.com. So it's kind of small W working right now. There are several thousand consumers a day who go to Verification looking for an ASTA travel advisor, but we'll only be happy when there are a lot more zeros behind those thousands, people finding and connecting through verification.com. Now, the good news is that it's already generating substantial business for ASTA VTAs. What's more, after taking our courses, advisors report feeling more confident charging and increasing their professional fees. Now, we are especially grateful to host and consortia partners such as Nexion, Signature, Mast, Chase, and En Voyage, who are sponsoring VTA for their networks. Okay, now a couple quick updates, and then we'll really get started. I've mentioned this a time or two over the last few weeks. Hate is a strong word, but I'm only using it in the place of loathe. There is already an uncomfortably long lag between when our members recommend hotels and when they are paid a modest commission. That modest commission is further diminished by the current structure in place delivering it. ASTA members confirm that collecting hotel commissions is a big problem. They sometimes wait months and months, navigating a Byzantine labyrinth of documentation and requests just to get paid a commission they are legally and rightfully owed. Brothers and sisters, these things ought not be. We are tired of excuses. It's time to put slow and no-pay hoteliers on notice. Advisors should know that the properties they recommend may not honor their contractual obligations for many months. Last Friday, we launched the ASTA Hotel Watch List. ASTA members can report a slow or no-pay hotelier. ASTA's legal team will then contact the hotelier on our members' behalf. If not promptly resolved, the hotel will go up on our watch list. Now, I don't speak for them, but we've been in regular contact with our hosts and consortia partners. They are as interested as we are in shining sunlight on this odious practice, and we want to see real change. We are also suggesting contractual language for inclusion in preferred partner contracts that will suggest penalties for late payments. So, thank you. We are also putting more attention on ASTA's corporate agency members. As part of our ASTA corporate launch, we conducted a joint survey with GBTA. Over the past several months, a group of data nerds from Rockport Analytics studied data from prime numbers in Dun & Bradstreet and looked at thousands of transactions across the managed travel landscape. Our question was simple: does travel management have any effect on business? Now, for those of you staying over to the inaugural Corporate Travel Exchange Forum on Thursday, we're going to dig into the study's findings and results. But for those not attending, I'm going to give you the headlines. Managed travel is clearly supportive of top-line revenue growth. Each additional dollar spent in managed travel generates 20 cents of additional revenue for the company. U.S. firms are performing better than their overseas counterparts. Go USA. Travel policy enforcement is also an important aspect of management. Those high-flying sales execs need to be reined in, and the accounting department needs to get out every once in a while and breathe some fresh air. But a lack of enforcement of a company's travel policy results in minimal revenue gains. But if you squeeze those high-flying sales execs too hard, you diminish the sales increase that you would otherwise enjoy. It's a really interesting study, and we're definitely going to dig into it on Thursday. But in summary, corporate agencies are critical to a company's growth, profit prospects, and in nurturing a healthy corporate culture. So more at Corporate Travel Exchange Forum on Friday, a little later in the week. But now, without further ado, please join me in welcoming to the stage ASTA's VP of Membership, Marketing, and Communications, Michael Shoddy. Michael.
Those of you who know me, especially my colleagues, will be pretty surprised when I say this, but I don't have much to say to you today. I have sat here the last couple of years and been wowed by the level of content that ASTA has put on in this room. But one of the things that often struck me is looking out into this space and seeing the caliber of attendee just in this room, and then the idea that I would come up and stand here and tell you about your industry. So much like ASTA's marketing over the last couple of years and ASTA's newly launched website, I am going to let our members speak for themselves. I am going to showcase you. So we have a wonderful program here for you today. We have a sponsor speaker coming up in just a moment, David Kolner from Virtuoso. But then after him, we have two amazing, exciting panels of some of just the brightest minds in this industry to tell you what's actually going on. And I am so excited to learn just as much as all of you from their incredible insight. So without further ado, Executive Vice President of Strategic Communications Virtuoso, David Kolner.
All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Okay. All right, good. We're there. All right. It is my pleasure to join you today as a sponsor of this event from Virtuoso. My name is David Kolner, Executive Vice President of Strategic Communications, and I have some fun things to share with you, always insightful communications from Virtuoso. In case you are unfamiliar with who Virtuoso is, talk to the person next to you. They probably know. I'm going to save the time. Okay, no. We're the world's leading network of luxury leisure agencies, 20,000 advisors, about $35 billion in annual sales. 3 quick topics for you today. We're really proud to announce that today we're launching our worldwide 2026 Lux Report. So I'll be sharing some of the findings from this new study. For those of you in the media, you've probably received a release on that today. We're going to talk about travel advising in the United States, because that's where we are and how it's going. And then I do want to talk a little bit about Virtuoso quality travel advising and really celebrate the exceptional advising that happens with Virtuoso agencies and what that means. First of all, the Lux Report is our annual survey that surveys advisors worldwide in the Virtuoso network on a variety of topics, what travel is looking like, emerging destinations. And one of the key things we want to talk about for 2026 is an optimistic story from the Virtuoso network. 67% of Virtuoso advisors are predicting an increase in travel demand next year. It's a huge number, 67%. So a very optimistic outlook for what travel is going to be looking like next year. And top motivations for travel, just giving you a couple of the insights here. Family travel, we hear a lot about this, the multi-gen idea, but a recurring trend that we're seeing at Virtuoso is that travelers are going back to immediate family travel. They actually just want to spend time in their close-knit family unit. Also, a trend we're watching is this idea of FOMO to slow-mo. Okay, I'm trying to get on Zane's daughter's TikTok feed with that one. I don't know if it's working. The idea about FOMO is driving traveler behavior to get them up off the couch, talk to their advisor, and get going. But the idea about FOMO is not that they're missing out on something, it's just that the world is changing so fast. They want to get to Antarctica now. They want to get to experience wildlife, a destination. But once they're getting there, everyone wants to slow down. It's the advisor who creates that experience of real destination and experiential immersion. Okay, More in the Lux report. You'll be hearing about that from Virtuoso in the months ahead. I want to talk about travel advising in the United States. This is from our Global Luxury Traveler Report in 2025. Several key trends about what's happening with United States-based travelers, but the number one thing I want to take away here that's so important for ASTA is that bookings with travel advisors increased more than any other way of booking for US travelers amongst our studies. So congratulations to all of you who are part of that movement of travelers using a travel advisor. We estimate that there's 13.3 million people in the United States looking to work with a travel advisor, fueled by firsthand experience, specializations, and the ability to create bespoke trips. The other thing is that the motivations to use an advisor are very different. For those in Gen Z and millennials, as we say, they need to understand the assignment. They have to have cultural sensitivity, be ambitious, whereas the Gen X and Boomers are really looking more for that attention to detail, understanding all the paperwork that has to go with a trip, and they really appreciate that. Like I say, no one likes to see a Boomer without their paperwork in order at the border. Okay. Virtuoso quality advising, I really want to celebrate the idea that Zane is also bringing up with this idea of quality advising. And we think at the Virtuoso Network, our advisors are the best in the world. One of the ways that we have been doing this for over 10 years is our proprietary reviews and recommendation service. You can see an example of what it looks like here. This is advisor from this agency called Largay Travel. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of it, but Ellen works there. We send an email 5 days after Ellen's clients return from their trip. We send it on Ellen's behalf with her awareness, and we ask the client really just 2 questions. Would you recommend your preferred partners that you booked, the Waldorf Astoria? And would you recommend Ellen and her service? And the idea here is to really understand, is the advising as part of the product of what the client is buying, is it good? And after sending over 1 million invitations for 10 years, our recommendation rate is 99.5% worldwide. It's really amazing. Well, yeah, congratulations to the Virtuoso advisors here for that. Significantly higher than American Airlines recommendation rate. If there's anybody from American in the audience, thank you, by the way. I love my Emerald status. Okay, 99.5%, hard to beat. So congratulations. I think this is just pointing to the idea of what an amazing job everybody here does, and especially thank you to our Virtuoso member agencies that are here too, and your advisors in what you do. And with that, I'm so grateful for the opportunity to be here and for us to support ASTA in our longstanding partnership. I am going to go ahead and turn the stage back to Shadi, and thank you so much.
I don't know whose idea was to put the podium mic at Zane and David's height, but I'm going to put it back down here. And up next, we have our first of 2 panels. The first one is going to focus on leisure travel. What hurdles does the travel industry face? And I will introduce our moderator, Eric Marinoff, President and CEO of All Travel and ASTA Board Vice Chair. Eric? Go.
If I could ask the rest of the panel to join me up on stage. Any random chair. Being at the end doesn't keep you away from the questions.
Go right next to Mark.
Come on, Joshua.
Let's start with just actually real brief, if you would each introduce yourselves briefly. Starting here. Mark.
Yeah, Mark Kozlowskis. I'm the CEO of Avoya. Thank you, Eric.
Joshua Harrell, the Chief Revenue Officer over at Worldvia Travel Network.
Nicole Mazza, Chief Marketing Officer over at Travel Savers Nest and the Affluent Traveler Collection.
Tiffany Hines, President and CEO of Global Escapes.
Amanda Klimak, President of Largay Travel in Waterbury, Connecticut.
How did we get this divide of men on one side? What happened
Want to
here?
swap with me? Boys rule.
We're hoping you start that way.
We're going to start with a really easy question, actually for all of you, if you would. And that is, when you think about the biggest challenges facing the travel profession today, what is the top of your list and why? Amanda?
How much time do we have, Eric?
We're going to keep this one short because we've got a lot of good stuff behind it.
There's so much to be concerned about right now.
What are the big ones?
I think news is my biggest. Everyone's getting different news. And I think for us as advisors, we never know what the news is that our clients are reading. And so it becomes a little bit of a challenge when you're asked questions about the world, travel, everything it affects. So we've become a little bit psychic, and we try to kind of pull out what people are reading and seeing and concerned about, and then pivot from there.
Okay. Nicole?
I think one of the things that we are seeing, there is a very long laundry list of what we could speak about, but it is professionalism. Zane spoke about it earlier, making sure that our industry stays professional. It is all of our brands out there. This is our industry. We need to protect it. We need to be brand ambassadors for it. We need to ensure those coming into our industry are good ambassadors for our industry. So I would say professionalism and education.
Tiffany?
I think it's the staffing shortages and the lack of awareness of this as a career opportunity. So many colleges and universities have hospitality programs, but there's nothing specific anymore for our part of the industry, and we need to kind of get back to that.
So back to professionalism.
We're here
and
for
education.
ASTA advocacy for our industry, and there's no better advocate for a consumer than a travel advisor, a professional, a knowledgeable travel advisor.
Sure. Joshua?
I'm going to agree about news and just information in general. We're all, before you would tune into the news and you knew which channel was going to give you that point of view, right? And now we're all being fed based on how what we're consuming. We like an AI cat video, and now we're getting one take of a story that you might be getting a completely different take, right? So it's navigating that information as well as where do I go for the right information. And we can't play psychic, but we try. And it becomes a analysis paralysis, right?
Sure.
Too much information.
Mark, what's top of your list?
Yes, I could easily go with any one of the panel, but for me, I would say if you're an owner, it would be margin erosion. And right now, you have three parts that hit you constantly. One is suppliers that are under pressure to lower cost. Two is rebaters, obviously, and whether you match or not. And the third would be clients that are always asking for more, more, more. So for me, what I would say I'm losing sleep on is margin erosion.
Okay. Next question, I'm going to just ask a few of you, but I'm going to start with Tiffany on this one. Direct booking strategies and commission delays are hot topics. Zane already talked about it. How are you addressing these issues with suppliers, and are you seeing any progress?
Yes. Well, first of all, we don't do business with suppliers that don't support our business. And it's very important as professional advisors and for our company as a whole to maintain those relationships with our clients. And, much like a financial advisor or, anybody in a professional service, if you have a really strong relationship with your client, they're going to come to you for the advice. It's all about building that trust. And if we do our job correctly, we don't have to worry too much about that. And if we're always, looking out for the best interest of our client, it's playing the long game.
So it's both the supporting those that support you, and what about the issue of delayed commissions?
If we have issues with that are ongoing, we choose not to do business with those companies.
Good for you. Joshua, same question. Direct booking strategies and commission delays, hot topics.
Well, we have thousands of advisors across the United States, and they can book with whomever they would like to. So it's a moving target because it moves around, right? Mm-hmm. And it's making our advisors aware that it's not good for them, and choosing their partners wisely, I would say, goes along with what you're saying. And then again, if there is ever an issue with any delayed payments, that is dealt with right away with that supplier. And then it becomes a situation where everyone in our network is aware that's a problem, and you got to stay away from it.
So a bit along the lines of what ASTA is doing with their hotel program of kind of ratting out the bad performers so that everybody's aware within the organization as to what's happening.
Yeah, and I love that because it's a central location for all of that information, because we all are everyone out here, we're running into different situations, especially in a global market. There's this little boutique hotel in France that there's a challenge, right? So however we can centralize information, it's going to lift us all.
Amanda, do you want to weigh in on this one of direct booking strategies and commission delays?
Let me do commissions first. 'Cause
Okay.
I think there's not only the issue of partners and suppliers who delay payment, but we also have intermediary issues.
Yes.
With Onyx, with ways we receive our payments, whether they go through some sort of company that is doing all the hotel commissions for a company. And so, one of the things we've been doing with the Corporate Advisory Council, we had Onyx come in and talk about their systems. Why aren't they working? Is it perception that there's a problem, or is it reality? And so for us, what I love about this is we're trying to figure out what are the hurdles for the people who want to do the right thing, who are just having problems getting those things to us.
Since you had that conversation with Onyx, what did you discover?
We discovered that they have a willingness to talk to us,
Okay.
which is something we did not have before. And what I really was impressed by was they had someone come from their company who was newer to the company and explain to us how that system works so that we can understand. And now we're kind of digging in on the root causes. So we haven't come to necessarily a resolution, but what I've loved is it's giving us a little more clarity. Is it the supplier that's the problem, or is it the way the money is coming to us?
And in general, what did you get a sense of? I know you've got to still dig in more, but what?
Yeah, it's an ongoing discussion. There's some new players in the market. We didn't have competition before, really. Sure. They were kind of a one show. We discovered that they do want to work with us, and they are looking for ways to help us reconcile faster. I have 120 advisors, and some people on this panel have thousands. And when you have one statement that you're trying to reconcile, and it's 47 pages long, and you have one person in accounting, that's a problem. It needs to be digital. We need to be able to intake information quickly. So on that, I think the work we're still doing, but I'm really excited about the direction we're going. As far as direct booking is concerned, I think that for me, when we see that they have some sort of campaign, we go right to our partner and talk about it, because sometimes there's a disconnect between your people in marketing and the people that are in the sales department or revenue management or whatever else. And then if they're really not willing to fix those issues that maybe went out in that email and somebody didn't understand, you have to recommend a travel advisor first, and then you can have them call direct, if they don't have someone. Usually we're finding that they get the understanding because they know the power is in our numbers, and we are strong, and I think the message is getting there.
Excellent, thank you. Mm-hmm. Moving right along, Mark, I'm going to start with you on this question. Political unrest, economic shifts, new visa rules, you name it, they can shake the traveler's confidence overnight with our news headlines and can change demand. How are you communicating with both your clients and your advisors when things feel uncertain, and what tools or strategies have you found to be the most effective?
Yeah, it's a good question, especially with what goes on in the world. I always found that for us, it was always dealing empathetically, understanding that people don't understand all the facts, speaking to our clients and our advisors in full respect and transparency, open dialogue, using our experience and consultative ways in order to show what we know. So it's it's what we know to be the fact, as opposed to all the things they're hearing on TV, which might not be the situation. Mm-hmm. What we find too is that the anxiety is worse than reality. And it's talking clients off that. It's telling them also, give it some time. You have clients that there may be an issue today and they're not traveling for 6 months. And right away they want to call and cancel. Mm-hmm. So it's trying to get everybody to calm down and say, let's wait and see, let's watch. I know you're anxious about it, but we've also seen this playbook before. And what we find is that things start to taper off. And we find the conversation with clients and being proactive as well. So reaching out to clients that are going to the specific destination, talking it through with them was something that definitely worked in our favor.
Such such a large and diverse network of people, how are you actually getting that information out there in a timely manner and to the right people involved?
Yeah, depending upon the severity of it, it's either by email, it's by internal communication tools we have, which is Teams and other ways. And then if it's something that is urgent and big, we will organize a call immediately, get everyone on to explain again, what's the truth, what's the fact, what are we hearing, what do we know? And then also giving our advisors, this is another important thing, is bullet point conversation topics to talk, points to talk about. Don't let people just go on their own and have a conversation. Say, look, here are the salient points that you need to bring across to your clients, and what we would say are the points that you need to cover with them.
Nicole, do you want to weigh in on this one as well?
Mark covered that beautifully.
Okay.
It truly is empathy is really important there. But it's interesting when we're watching newer advisors, I think we see more panic amongst those that have not been in the industry, have not been through something like this. So tools are really important. For us, we and our advisors, make sure you're, even within the networks that you're within, lean on those that have a lot of longevity in the industry, that have been through this before. Lean on their expertise. How do they get through it? We have some advisors who might not be empathetic in the way that they speak. They might be very to the point. Pull out AI. Say, write this empathetically. You need to be empathetic to your clients. You need to understand what they are going through. And as long as, like Marcus said, clear, concise, predict what they're thinking, speak to them before they speak to you, and travel insurance. Travel insurance should be part of the conversation.
Very, very good point there. And you're right, Mark, as well. Sometimes people panic for a trip that's 8 months out.
That's right.
And, the news just broke and it'll probably wash away in a week.
Yeah.
Joshua, do you want to weigh in on that one as well?
No, they both did a fantastic
Okay.
job.
Well, good. Then we'll move along.
but I will say it's ring all the alarms, all the communication channels, because nobody gets the email, nobody joins the call, so there's keep on hitting it. And I love what you said about the sourcing the people in your organization with the longevity, because those are the people that can speak with confidence on hey, this is, acknowledge the concern. This is a thing, but we've actually done this before. So sit tight, insurance, right? But that direct communication with so many new to the industry, that is really where it's the same as training someone how to qualify their customer the best way, right? Mm-hmm. It's the same exact type of technique that needs to be shared. And I would say that we probably all feel like we are connectors. The success leaves clues, and we're all clue picker-uppers and sharers, right?
I like that, clue picker-uppers.
I feel like I should come up with a better term for that.
Who's going to use that?
Yeah.
Clue picker-upper.
Copyright, Joshua Morrell.
Nicole, I'm going to start with you on this next one, because you talked about the professionalism of the industry. And so training gaps, travel scams, and bad actors has eroded the trust in the advisor ecosystem. How do we ensure that new entrants to the profession are equipped with the skills and tools to safeguard, to succeed, and how do we restore confidence among both the advisors and the consumers?
So there's a lot of different things when you speak about scammers in the market today.
Yeah.
So you've got consumer scammers, you've got our own industry scammers that are out there.
You got people out there trying to sell the ASTA list that doesn't even exist.
What we have worked with our advisors on, it is, again, communication. We have a network of advisors. You all belong to networks of advisors. Speak to one another of what's out there. We keep a really long-running list of active scams that are in the market so they can learn from each other. We also put out some really good tips of what to look for, but also tips for them to share with their consumers. If someone is asking for your bank account, someone is asking for you to repay for a trip that might be coming direct from a tour operator or a travel provider, and you've booked it through me, call me. Don't call that travel provider. We're seeing a lot of that happening today where consumers are being scammed. So it's communication. It's having open dialogue. It's working with one another, making everybody aware of what is out there today because they get more sophisticated.
Yes, they do. Years ago it was easy. It was anybody asking for a flight to somewhere in Africa at the last minute.
That's right.
Those were the scams.
The day
now
before Christmas.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's interesting because we've all built safeguards. There's companies around building safeguards against those and booking engines that are out there. But these phone calls that these random baby boomers are getting that really get frightened by it, that they haven't paid for their trip and it's going to cancel in 24 hours. As long as we just educate our consumer, educate our advisors of what is happening in the market. And without a doubt, if you're questioning it and it doesn't feel right, call me. Call me, question it.
Sure.
So as long as we communicate with one another what's out there.
Mark, continuing on this question, how do we ensure that new entrants to the profession are equipped with the skills, tools, and safeguards to succeed?
Yeah, it's a lot what Nicole said, and that is constant reaffirming all the things that are smart. If something doesn't smell right, whether you've been in this industry for 15 minutes or whether you've been in this industry for 30 years, we've seen 30-year veterans get scammed just as we see new. And the fact is that oftentimes you're in a rush, and you do things that don't make sense. And that, if everybody takes a deep breath and stops and thinks about it, that's usually the first thing. The second is frankly, to your point, what you said about clients wanting to travel immediately, right, on a cruise tomorrow usually sends up red flags all over, especially if someone is using someone else's credit card. It's common sense things that we also have been teaching advisors. The next is trying to not take a credit card over the phone. There are plenty of tools right now that you could send a direct link to the client to put their own credit card information, as opposed to you taking it, putting it in a system that maybe you don't know, writing it down where someone else may take advantage of it. There are things like that that are new now that we're finding agents are more and more comfortable with, and it's definitely mitigating. Look, a scammer's going to get through if a scammer wants to get through. But if we're doing everything we can to mitigate it up front, we'll see it less and less.
Tiffany, do you have anything to add on this one?
Not really. I think they covered it. But I mean, you know, it's always, if it sounds good, too good to be true, it typically is. It's educating both your team and your customers. And again, going back to the trust, being that person that the consumer can trust.
Okay. Moving along, Amanda, we've seen a lot of new to industry advisors join since the pandemic. Where do you see the biggest training gaps, and how can we close those gaps?
For us, we have a long-standing mentoring program. So we've been doing mentoring for 12 years, maybe even 15 years. Our program is an 8-month program. They go through extensive training. They then have a buddy they work with, and we teach them start to finish, duty of care, everything they need to know. What's great about that, for anybody who's considering doing that in their agency, is that you bring a whole new network of clients into your business that you would have never had the opportunity to have, because you're finding people that are really well networked and really have a whole new group of people to sell to. What I see is there's a lot of ads on Instagram and things like that. Be an agent in 24 hours, pay $29.95. I live on the beach and I do email for an hour. And we know that's not reality, right? But a lot of people don't. They don't realize. So they pay the money. And what we're seeing now is an influx of people who thought they were becoming travel advisors who really weren't. And they now see the issues that are starting to rise, unfortunately for all of us. So one of the things that we do is we talk as much as possible about why we're professionals, what we do, how our advisors train, the amount that they've traveled in their life that bring them the experience to allow them to recommend destinations. And I think really being proud out loud, we're not used to that, a lot of us. We're entrepreneurs, we get busy, we're in, what we do, we love what we do, but we don't talk about, you know what I do for you? I actually take an hour and a half to get to know you. Then going through that process and allowing our advisors to truly tell the client why they should do business and why they should trust you with their money is just amazing. And I love the VTA program because of that, because we are elevating that industry level. It's not just pay to play. You have to learn. You have to know your responsibilities. You are handling somebody's most precious time of the year. And that means so much. And I think that when they hear us talk about that, our clients, and how much care and concern we have, then they understand why they work with the travel advisor. They can still go online and have fun and Google and AI, whatever.
It's a collaboration.
But it's a collaboration, yeah.
Tiffany, along these same lines, where do you see the biggest training gaps?
Again, going back to, we do a lot of the same thing with mentoring. I think it's having a process that someone can follow. What we do is very complex. It is very high level consulting, advising. I mean, our industry has progressed and evolved so much over the last 35 plus years, and it's exciting to see, but it is frustrating at times to see people think it's just so easy, and it's not. It is complex, and it does take a lot of patience and customer service first and foremost. I mean, you've got to care enough about the client that you're serving, and then you've got to also care enough about the supplier partners that you're working with on the other side. And I think this is where we've had a lot of success, going back to the whole commission issue. Our supplier partners know we're all in this together. Like, if you want more customers, we're going to help you get more customers, but we've got to all work together for this common end here. But yeah, it's just going through a process with new people and showing them the complexity of it, and making sure they understand that.
Joshua, you want to weigh in on the training gap and how do you overcome it?
Yes. Yes, I concur.
That works.
Yeah. I would say, I think the biggest gap, and it's probably not addressing maybe the specific concerns that many of you guys have, but I think we're missing it when we don't train on how to be an entrepreneur, because that is like the hardest job in the world. It is one where you get demotivated, you start spending money you don't have, you start falling into the trap of if it smells like a duck and talks like a duck, it's a duck, that's fraud, right? So I feel like it needs to be fun. I mean, we're going to turn off the industry, new entrants into the industry, if we make it so serious that you can't find your fit within our industry. But I think navigating some of the pitfalls that we all have as human beings in running a business, I think that's huge. That also then sets your compass to your North Star. Where are you going to get this advice, this mentoring? Not all mentors are created equal. Mm-hmm. Not all training programs are created equal. And frankly, I mean, with a larger network, you got all the generations, you got all the different personalities, and there isn't one way to train everybody. Everybody wants the fast track. Some people want to take all the courses, and that's a beautiful thing. But I think at the core, if everyone understands that it is their book of business, whether they're working for an agency or they're their own business, you have to be motivated and really tied into why are you doing this? And what is your story going to be? And find who are going to be the mentors and the educators to kind of get you where you want to be.
Got it. Moving along. Nicole, you already made reference to AI, so a bit about AI.
Get going on the AI, girl.
Needless to say, AI and new technology, it's transforming how both consumers research and book and experience travel. How can travel professionals embrace these tools to enhance, not replace, the advisor role? And what risks do you see if we don't adapt quickly enough?
Advisors need to adapt today. There's a lot of really great tools that are on the market. We can't be afraid of them. You need to understand that they are there to assist you in your business, to grow your business, assist in what you're doing. Nothing is going to take away your authenticity. There's a lot of noise in the market, and AI is creating content that's very similar across a lot of different platforms. You bring your uniqueness to that, and you have to bring your uniqueness to it. But utilize those tools. Get 3 to 4 hours back in your day, and you can get 3 to 4 hours back in your day if you use these tools properly. There's a lot of great ones that are on the market. And advisors that are not understanding how to use AI, that are not embracing it as an opportunity within the operations of their business, are going to fall, we believe, a little bit further behind, because you're not going to be able to keep up with the demand that is there that you want to bring through the door. But use it as an operational, use it as a marketing tool. There's great marketing tools that are out there today to be a great marketer, to take content that is out there. You can go on a business trip. We're watching advisors today and training them to take all the bullet points. They're on this trip, taking their photos, throwing it into AI, whether it's Copilot or ChatGPT, that are doing amazing personalized content that would have taken them hours to do. But putting their own personality to it, that is key. There's a lot of noise in the marketplace today. And if you're really in tune to what's happening out there, a lot of it sounds the same. How do you make yours better? How do you use AI to build your brand and to build your voice? Because there's a lot of great tools out there to do it, and agencies really need to embrace it and not be afraid of it.
It's not even so much the agencies, it's getting that individual frontline advisor.
Yes.
Mark, you want to weigh in on this question as well? How can travel professionals embrace these tools to enhance, not replace? And what risks do you see if they don't adjust quickly enough?
So the good news is most of the advisors are using it on a daily basis. In this room, how many of you use AI on a daily basis? The whole flipping room, right? You use it for emails, you use it to research. Our advisors are using it the same way. The fact is that AI right now makes our advisors smarter, faster, and more productive. And they see that. They can't know everything, but they know the right questions to ask. And they certainly know what to do to triangulate whether we're looking at fact or fiction. I'll give you an example. I went into AI and I looked at some countries to see what the requirements were for a US traveler to enter. Interestingly enough, I looked up about 15 countries. 10% of that, so 2 of them were incorrect. So if you were a client going to that destination, you would have gotten incorrect information. So for us, it's using AI to make our jobs faster, as Nicole said, and certainly better, make us more productive. But also it's us to educate the client that if you're using AI, be aware, because these things are going to come back to bite you. Hotels close, restaurants close, timing of attractions, all the things that clients are using that they think they're so smart about, we can do it better. So that's the first thing. The second thing, obviously, communication as a tool, no question about it. As Nicole said, marketing, no question about it. And certainly it is a way for us to use that also for technology. Interestingly enough, we're looking at updates now to technology that we have, and our tech team is saying us what would have taken a year to a year and a half to change is now taking months because we're using AI for coding. So all these things are making us better, faster, and the good part is our advisors are all using it now.
Tiffany, are you using much AI in your
Oh, yeah.
business?
Yeah.
And how are we getting everybody to embrace it?
I think it's just like anything else in our industry. We have to continue to evolve. We've got to be insatiably curious. We've got to be curious about the tools that are out there. We've got to understand them. We don't want to be left behind. And if you don't embrace it, then the people who do embrace it are the ones that are going to pass you by. So, yeah.
So follow up on the question overall. With today's travelers expecting speed, transparency, and personalization at every touch point, what strategies can advisors use to demonstrate their value when the clients often believe they can do it themselves online? Amanda, do you want to take that?
Yeah. For us, it's where the advisor is giving all of the terms and conditions, all of the information that's required for a traveler to travel, but condensing it down into a way that somebody can understand it. I don't know how many people have ever read the terms and conditions on an airline ticket or a cruise ticket or all of these different things. And so we're really helping to kind of distill down what they're getting, using AI to do that in some cases, and then present it up to the client so that they understand our job is to help protect their investment, make sure they travel safely, and have what they need to have a really wonderful trip and not be stressed out about it. And if there's stressful things, we're going to listen, we're going to learn, and then we're going to find ways to help them. So really that communication and having a conversation with the traveler is important. Now what we find is that some travelers don't care. They're just like, take care of it, I'll meet you at the airport, we're going, we're done. So understanding what they need, how they consume information, whether it be, one of the things we use a lot, we talk about AI, is Notebook LM, which is a product by Google, because we're a Google shop. And so Notebook LM is AI, but it doesn't source outside of what you put into it. And what's fun about it is you could put a client's itinerary in there, you could put their flights, everything else, and it'll create a podcast for your client about their trip, about the food in Italy, about whatever it is you want. You could tell it how long you want the podcast. So for a client who has a commute to their office every day, they could listen about their trip that they're going on. And so we're just becoming really creative in the ways that we're using it, in ways they wouldn't even think of. And then in addition, we're making sure as they bring things to the table, such as entry requirements, where they're confused or they're not sure what's accurate, we're saying, we'll take responsibility, find out what's correct, and we'll let you know. And so we're just doing our due diligence, and as we're doing it, we're letting our clients know that our sole purpose is for them to come home happy and to call us again. It's that repeat business that keeps us going, and so we're just trying to figure out how do we make this whole process as fun and easy and seamless as possible. Did I answer the question?
You gave tips, you gave what to do.
I just wish you'd show a little more enthusiasm.
I know, sorry.
Ditto.
Anybody else have something to add in on that very complete? Yeah, Tiffany.
I'll jump in.
Sure.
I think something that doesn't get discussed a lot, and we discuss it a lot in our office, is we've got to be really clear about the fact that there are some people who really enjoy planning their own travel. And that is okay. What was the stat earlier from Virtuoso? 13 million people are looking for a travel advisor. There are enough consumers out there that need our help desperately and want that help. And I think as advisors, it's one of the first things that we teach new people is that we don't want to beat our head up against a wall trying to beg somebody to do business with us. And we also don't want to take away the joy that they get from the planning process. If that's clearly the part of the trip that they enjoy, we want them to keep doing that. And so I think as business owners, independent advisors, as well as employees, need to really think about who their ideal client is and go after those people.
Got it. Mark, did you have anything else
just
to add?
To add something. So you ladies were 100% right about the pre-planning, but the value we also bring is during and after, and that's the duty of care. Let's not forget that stuff does happen in the world, and when clients are stuck somewhere, go try to get on an airline that you don't have status to get, the hours you're gonna have to wait, or a cruise line or what have you. And what we do is we're there for them 24/7. So when things go bump in the night, it's us that's there to protect them.
And very good point. And to your point as well, AI can't ask them the questions they don't know to ask in the first
Correct.
place.
Correct.
That the advisors do.
That's right. That's right.
Can I jump
Yes,
in?
please.
So let's remember that AI is a tool. I mean, there's only one you in the galaxy. The way that you're going to use AI is different from the way Nicole will use it. And I would like to start a movement, okay? Because,
Noted.
Please, noted. Where are my poster boards and markers? Because if you've noticed, people say, I throw it into AI, or, oh, that just came from AI. Do we say that we used Word or PowerPoint? We don't. Why do we have this relationship with AI? Why? And then it made me think of like Star Trek. Did anybody watch Star Trek and you like talk to the computer? You said, computer, play chess with me, right? And then the computer would play chess with me and I had a very satisfying game of chess, right? AI is that computer. So I work with AI. The more I work with it, it gets to know me. It gets to know my style. It gets to know my clients or my type of clients, right? It's good if I make it good. It's bad if I don't even like try. You've got to like warm it up a little bit, right? So instead of saying I used AI, let's say I worked with AI. Like let's have a relationship with it. I'm not saying, make AI your AI boyfriend. Like that's not where we're going with this, but kind of think about if you did have an AI boyfriend, how would you interact, or a girlfriend, right? So the movement is I worked with AI, not I threw it in AI or I used AI. Anyway,
Got it.
sorry.
No, I appreciate it.
The one thing we didn't touch on that I think is really important is companies do need to have an AI policy. Because
Good point.
your advisors, your employees don't always know what's okay to put in. And certainly, most of these platforms are public facing or using data in a certain way. And we do want to make sure that we communicate what is acceptable and what's not, because people don't know, because it is so new. So I just want to throw that out if anybody's not already doing that.
Got it. Okay. Moving right along. Tiffany, one of your favorite topics I know is fees. We're going to keep this one really short because I got more to go, but I don't want to miss out here. What strategies have worked for you when it comes to charging professional fees and communicating your value to the clients who may not understand how you're compensated?
Well, again, it's you've got to get to know the client. You've got to understand their motivation. Where are they getting stuck? We know, that we are here to serve the people who don't have the time or the desire to do it themselves, number one. And once our advisors determine that that person doesn't have the time or the desire, then at that point it is our job to explain how we work and what we do for them and educate them a little bit. We feel like if we invest a little bit of that in the beginning, we're going for a long-term relationship. We're playing the long game. We want to be their trusted advisor for many years to come. So if we do our job right on the front end, we have solidified that trust, and then we continue to do that time and time again. They're not going to question what you charge. You're saving them so much time. They're investing thousands of dollars in a vacation, and it's like you're their insurance policy of making sure that they're not just jumping online and rolling the dice. And it's, I had a client just recently tell me, you get to a point in life where time is a more precious resource than money. And we've got a lot of baby boomers that are at that point in their life. Time is more precious to them right now. They're running out of it, and they're trying to make up for lost time, and they want to work with somebody that's going to help them spend their time and their money wisely.
Excellent. Speaking of time, my time's running low. I've got 2 more questions I want to hit for all of you. So a short answer on the following, and this is going to be for all of you. And I'll start with you, Mark. If you could wave a magic wand and fix one industry pain point, what would you choose and why?
Yeah, great question.
I thought so too.
Great
We're going to keep them short.
So
and
I
to
would
the
say
point.
rebating.
Okay.
Getting rid of rebaters for 3 reasons. One is that, frankly, it sets the client up to be educated that they should always ask for a discount. Second, it's because it devalues the fact that we're consultative and we can charge for our service, and the fact that people think it's more expensive to book through an advisor. And third, it also devalues the education that we bring. And I wave that away.
Joshua, what would you wave away?
Antiquated systems, technology systems across, to book any travel, you've got 80 tabs open, every system's working very differently, there's not a lot of integration, and there's not a lot of safety protocols when it comes to, or security protocols when it comes to payment.
Nicole?
Higher bar of entry into our industry.
I would agree. Tiffany?
The misconception of our profession, I'm kind of harping on that today, but it is very complex. What we do is a lot, and I think people come into the industry starry-eyed thinking that it's going to be super easy, and it is a lot of fun once you learn how to do what you need to do, but it is, it's very complex.
Amanda, if you could wave that magic wand.
Standardization of data and information.
That's a good one. Last question, and I'll start with you, Nicole. What gives you hope right now, and where are you seeing the positive momentum that makes you optimistic about the future of our industry?
Most of the slides we saw today, time and time again, regardless of what is thrown at us, the resilience of this industry is incredible. Consumers are still looking for an advisor. As you've mentioned, there's plenty of consumers that are out there that really value our industry. And regardless of what's thrown at us, we still see those numbers climb. So I love seeing that, and that gives me great hope. It's always been that way. The internet was going to kill us. A lot of things were going to kill us. We are still here, and we are thriving. A
friend of mine in the industry years ago said to me, gee, when airlines came out with 800 phone numbers, that was it. Everybody thought we were over and done. Really? Joshua, what gives you hope right now?
I think the resiliency, definitely, and the products just keep getting better and better. The experiences keep getting better and better. It just gives so many more opportunities for you to work with your client and grow your client base. I think it's amazing. Who would have thought?
Tiffany, what gives you hope?
I think the younger generation coming along, they're more interested in experiences than things. And they're really embracing getting out and exploring the world. There's so many cool ways to do it now. Mm-hmm. That's exciting.
Amanda?
My younger employees, I just love working with them. They re-energize me, and they're so smart. And it's really exciting to see this next generation come in. I just think there's so much hope on the horizon.
Mark?
Yeah, this is a great industry, a fun industry, and much like Tiffany and Amanda said, the new to industry, I've seen more now in the 20 plus years I've been in this industry. I spoke at this conference, Future Leaders in Travel. It was 100 new to industry. It was incredible, the engagement, the questions, the interest they had. Frankly, too, the business. These guys, their biggest problem is what to do with all the business they're seeing. Mm-hmm. So not only is it a fun industry, but you could make money. And everyone in that room realized that this is a career and was excited about it. So that's what gets me jazzed.
You know, your comment about making money, when I got in this business 40 years ago, everybody's first comment was, you can't make any money.
Right.
You don't hear that said anymore.
No.
Which is great. I'm going to close with just a closing thought of my own, and that is, at the end of the day, I don't think the travelers are looking for another booking engine. You're right, what they want is experiences. They want reassurance, and they want that human connection. And if we can keep those front and center, we not only survive the headwinds, but become stronger and more indispensable than ever.
Well done.
Thank you all very much.
Yes, sir.
There was an interesting moment in that panel as the time was wrapping up. Normally you expect the moderator to be really looking at that time, but Marcus had to get to the airport. So he was also checking that timer. He was very, very laser focused. And with that, we've got an intermission. We've got the snacks and the drinks are still out in the hallway. So if you take about 15 minutes and we will call you back into the room shortly for our second panel.